All right. So mainly the band today. We will do a few little exercises in sitting. So if you do want to be a bit more comfortable, you can have a cushion handy to sit on. But I'll let you know when we use that. So we're going to start down on the floor today. So have the band close by. I'm going to come down onto our back. So on our back, got a nice neutral pelvis. Feet and knees are in line with our hip bones. We're just going to pick the toes, the balls of the feet up off the floor, so the weight's resting on the heels. Spread the toes nice and wide, and then we're going to place them down onto the mat. So if you feel that nice even weight distribution through both of your feet, that triangular base of support. We're going to feel the back of the sacrum, back of the pelvis, nice and heavy on the mat. Tailbone nice and heavy, relaxed. We're just relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing through the neck. And just feel the collarbones nice and wide at the front of your chest. And just feel the rib cage sinking and melting down into the mat. So we'll start with our breathing. So we'll take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again, breathing in and out. So as we're breathing in, just feel the ribcage expanding across the mat. And breathing out, just feel the ribcage softening in and down. So we'll do this one more time. Take a nice breath in, relaxing through the shoulders, through the neck, and just breathe out any tension being held within the body. So then take that into our pelvic floor and our deeper core muscles. So let's take a breath in, nice and wide into the rib cage. As we're breathing out, our pelvic floor gently lifts, just to help fire up those deeper lower tummy muscles. Breathing in, relax, release. So you're more than welcome to put your fingers on the inside of your hip bones. So as we're breathing out, you can think of drawing your tummy away from your fingers as we lift through the pelvic floor and tighten through our corset muscle, our TVA. As we breathe in, relax and release. Let's do that 2 more times. We're breathing out, pelvic floor gently lifts. Think of drawing tummy away from your fingers. And breathing in, relax, release. Relax the pelvic floor, relax the tummy, and we'll do that 1 more time. We're breathing out, pelvic floor gently lifts. You can imagine a belt is being tightened around your waist. And then we relax and release. So from here, let's have that 20% engagement through our pelvic floor and tummy muscles. Arms down by your side, shoulders relaxed. So do a few little pelvic tilts. So as we breathe out, we're going to gently draw the tummy button in, down towards the floor as we lower that low back down, as we tuck the tailbone under, and then we release back to neutral. So we're breathing out, we're drawing our hip bones closer to our rib cage as we tuck the tailbone under and lower the low back down towards the floor. And then we release. So we'll do this a few more times. So as we're breathing out, we're trying to keep the bottom nice and relaxed. We don't want the bottom muscle clenching, nor do we want the hip flexors at the front tightening up too much. We want to use our tummy muscles to try and create this little movement of tucking the tailbone under. So gently lowering the low back down towards the mat. So you don't want to press it too much and jam it down, just a very gentle imprint. So we're going to take this up into our hip rolls. So as we're breathing out, we pass through our little pelvic tilt. We're then going to peel the spine up off the floor, bone by bone, all the way up into our bridge position. Our weight's resting across our shoulders. Let's reach both arms overhead, keeping a gentle engagement through our tummy. As we breathe out, leave the arms where they are. We're going to roll the spine nice and slowly back down to get some nice movement through the spine, all the way down through imprint into neutral, and then we're going to lower our arms down by our hips. And we'll go again as we're breathing out, pelvic tilt, peeling the spine up off the floor. We have that triangular base of support through both of your feet. So in this position, just lower your eye gaze down towards your knees. We don't want the knees dropping out or dropping in. We want the knees in line with our hips. So we're going to reach both arms overhead, keeping our neck nice and long. We breathe out. Think of reaching the fingers towards the wall as you roll the spine back down. Just ironing out through any sticky bits through the mid-back, all the way down into neutral. Bring the arms down by your side. Let's do this one more time. We're breathing out. We tuck and roll. One vertebra at a time is leaving the mats. Up into our bridge position. Want to keep that rib-hip connection as we reach both arms overhead. We soften through the breastbone, soften through the ribs at the front as we roll back down. All the way into neutral. Bring the arms down by your side. So we're going to roll up into our bridge position again. So we're breathing out, we tuck and roll. Pushing down evenly through both feet. All the way up into our bridge position. We're going to lift both arms up towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades are nice and heavy down onto the floor. We're nice and open through the front of the chest. We have our knees in line with our hip bones. Gentle squeeze on our glutes, and we've got our corset wrapped around the waist. So from here, we'll just do a few little arm scissors. So one arm overhead, one arm down by your hip, up towards the ceiling, other side. So if you feel this in your low back at all, you can just bring the pelvis a little bit lower down towards the mat, or you can bring the pelvis all the way down completely. So we're scissoring the arms, just warming up through our shoulders. Keeping our neck nice and long. And let's do 4 more. And 3. And 2. Last one. Arms up towards the ceiling. And let's roll the spine all the way back down, bone by bone. Relaxing through the breastbone. Lower back lowers, roll into neutral, and then bring the arms down by your side. Bring the legs together. Just one a little bit more through the lower back. Arms out to the side. So knees together, feet together. So keeping the knees and the feet together, we're going to drop both legs over to one side as we look in the opposite direction. So try and keep the knees and the feet stacked, one on top of the other. And then we're going to draw the legs back to centre. So let's breathe in, take both legs over to the other side. And as we breathe out, we're going to draw the legs back to centre. So it's going to go from side to side. So I want you to glue your shoulder blades down onto the mat and try and keep as much of that back of the ribcage on the opposite side on the floor as you take the legs over. So you might feel a little bit of a stretch through the waist muscles as you take the legs over. You may not, that's absolutely fine. Drawing the legs back to centre. Good. So we'll stay nice and relaxed, nice and open through the chest at the front as we move the legs. And we're rotating through the waist. So just giving some nice gentle movement through our lumbar spine, our lower back, through rotation. And let's do this one more time on each side. Taking the legs over to one side, we look in the opposite direction. Draw the legs back to centre, and we'll do one more. Keeping knees and hips stacked, one on top of the other, and then back to centre. Brilliant. So let's turn onto our side, and then we're going to come up onto all fours. So let's do some cats and cows. So we want our hands underneath our shoulders, knees are underneath our hips. Let's tuck that in. So just spread the fingers nice and wide for me on the floor. We're nice and open through the front of the chest. As we breathe in, we prepare. As we breathe out, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, round through the spine. So we're tucking the tailbone under first, round through the lower back, mid back, upper back. We're going to tuck in the chin last. Take a breath in there to stay. As we breathe out, we release from the tailbone first, through the low back, mid back. So we pass through neutral, drop the shoulders down, and we're going to look forwards. So as we come into this little extension, I want you to completely relax the tummy and relax the pelvic floor. Feel the sit bones nice and wide. So we come into neutral. Breathing out, we tuck under, round and through the spine. Gently push the hands and the knees into the floor and feel the spine nice and open through your back. Take a breath in and focus that breath into the back of the rib cage. Breathing out, we release all the way through the spine, nice and slow, just like those hip rolls. We get some nice movement through the vertebra. We're looking forwards, we're relaxing the tummy, relaxing through the back of the pelvis. We come back into neutral, shoulders are down, neck nice and long. We're breathing out, we're tucking under, rounding through the spine like a hissing cat. Take a breath into the back of the rib cage. Give those muscles a little stretch with that in-breath. Breathing out, we're going to release. Looking forwards, drop the shoulders down. Relax through the pelvis, relax the tummy. Let's do this one more time. We're coming into neutral. We're breathing out, we're tucking under, rounding through the spine. Create a nice space between each vertebra as we're rounding into that little C curve. Breath in to stay. As we're breathing out, we're going to release. Bone by bone, dropping those shoulders down as we look forwards. And then we're going to come into neutral. So we're going to grab our band next. So it's a little bit of a tricky one to get into sometimes. But we're going to place the band around the ball of the foot, of just one foot. Grab the ends, and then we're going to anchor the ends down onto the floor underneath your hands, and we've still got the band around the ball of the foot. So again, hands are underneath our shoulders and the knees are underneath our hips. We've got a nice long spine, shoulders are down. From here, we're going to lift the leg with the band around. We're going to lift that knee up. And then we're going to push our foot into the band as we lengthen that leg back. Breathing in, we're going to bend that knee back. Breathing out, push away. Breathing in, bend it back. So you can keep the leg quite low to the floor if you want to. It doesn't have to fully extend, but do try and straighten that leg as much as possible. Or you can take the leg a little bit higher, but do try and keep the hips square to the ground. So we're not sort of rotating through the pelvis as we lengthen that leg away. And keep it nice and parallel. So we're working through our hamstrings and our glute muscles. Get those nice and strong. So as we're moving our leg, we want to be mindful that we're not sinking down into our shoulders. We want to stay nice and lifted with a gentle engagement through our tummy muscles. Bend it back. So we're going to do this 2 more times. Breathing out. Push the foot into the band. Lengthen that leg away. Bend it back. And we'll do 1 more. Breathing out. And breathing in. Draw it back. So we're going to swap sides. So release the band. I'm going to pop the band around the other foot. Holding the ends. Ta-ta. That's it. anchor the band down onto the floor. There's no elegant way of getting into this position. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Lift that working side up off the floor, knee bent, and then we're going to lengthen the leg away. And bend it back. So nice, slow and controlled movement. Hamstrings at the back of the thigh, the glute muscles are working to lengthen that leg. And then slowly bend. Resist against the pull of the band. I'm going to lengthen the leg away. Breathing in, we bend it back. Breathing out. Breathing in. So as we push that leg back, you might find that you need to engage through the tummy muscles a little bit more. So really wrap the corset around the waist and cinch you in through all directions. Keeping the spine nice and lengthened, shoulders are down. So let's do this 3 more times. Using the back of the leg, your hamstring, your glute muscles, push the leg away. With control, we bend the leg back. Let's do 2 more. Bend it back. We'll do 1 more. And then bend the knee back. So from here, we're going to stay on all 4. So just give the wrists a little bit of a shake if they're a little bit sore. But what you can also do, if the wrists are getting sore, roll your mat up, which I'm going to do because mine are, and pop the heel of the hand on the mat. So I'm going to grab the band. This time we're just going to work the triceps at the back. So anchor the band down with the supporting hand. And then hold it with the other. Good. So from here, we're going to lengthen the arm up. So have a little bit of tension on it to start with. Supporting hand, make sure it is underneath your shoulder. So from here, arm is in line with your back. And the arm is nice and straight, palm facing in. So we're going to leave the upper arm where it is as we bend through the elbow. And then we straighten. Bend through the elbow and straighten. So leave the upper arm nice and still. So we can work through our tricep muscles at the back as we straighten. And with control as we bend the arm, we're just very gently working through our biceps at the front. So we're going to move with control and straighten. Let's do 4 more. Lifting up out of that supporting shoulder joint. 2 and 1. Lengthen that arm back. I'm just going to pulse it up and down, keeping the arm nice and straight. Tummy muscles gently engaging for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax it down. So we go to the other side. I'll turn around. So anchoring the band down with supporting arm, spine nice and long. Take the arm back. We've got a little bit of resistance on the band to begin with. Take it back. So leaving the upper arm where it is, nice and still. We're just going to bend through the elbow and then straighten. So palm faces in towards the body as it bends and straightens. So as we're moving the arm, don't allow the shoulder socket of that supporting arm to dip. We want to stay nicely lifted. Bend and straighten. So you might find your oblique muscles kicking in. Those waist muscles. Let's do 3 more. And straighten. 2, 1. Bend. We're going to straighten that arm. And then we're going to pulse it up and down. So the arm is getting tired. You can just pop the band down or loosen the resistance. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release the band. Whew. So we're going to come up into a kneeling position. So kneeling position, in a high kneeling position, if you feel a little bit tight through the front of the hips, if you find like your bottom sort of sticks out a bit and you pinch in the lower back, you can pop the knees on a cushion, or you can even fold the cushion as well if you want to. Otherwise, we're straight down onto the mats. So from here, we want to try and get a nice long line from knee to shoulder. I'm going to reach the arms forwards. So we're gently engaging through our core muscles. So keeping that straight line, we're going to lean back. So we're just hinging from the knee joint only as we lean back. And then we're reaching forwards. We're leaning back and forwards. So let's breathe out and really engage through tummy muscles as we lean back. So we don't want any arching through the lower back as we're leaning back. So as soon as you find the tummy muscles releasing, that's as far as you go. So just make the movement as big or as small as you feel you need to maintain that nice long straight line and your core muscles engaged. That's it. Leaning back. It's actually a little thigh stretch, believe it or not. If you feel a bit of a thigh burn, you're actually giving those muscles or your hip flexors requires a little gentle stretch as they all attach underneath your kneecap. So let's do 3 more of these. Keeping centre nicely engaged. You can even think of gently tucking the tailbone under slightly as you lean back to stop arching. And then we'll do 1 more. And reach forwards. So from here, we're going to stay up in our high kneeling, and then we're going to take one leg out to the side. We're going to bring the hands to the front of the forehead. That's it. So from here, I'm going to make sure our hip is directly above our knee. Up nice and tall. I'm going to take it into a little side bend, up and over to one side. So go as far as you can without lifting and tipping over. And then we're going to draw back to centre, and we'll go towards the straight leg. You won't go as far. And back to centre. So I want you to think of lengthening up through the spine as we come up and over. So you're really working through your oblique muscles at the side. And make sure that we're square to the front. So we don't want the shoulders tipping forwards or backwards. That's it. And towards that front. That straight leg, sorry. And up. So we're taking it up and over into that side bend as far as you can go. And as we come back, really think of engaging those tummy muscles even more to bring yourself back to centre. And we'll do that 1 more time. Lifting up and over. As far as you go, that's it. Back to centre, engaging through those tummy muscles, up and over towards that straight leg. And back to centre. So we'll take it to the other side. Other leg out, knee directly underneath our hip. Let's pop the hands on the forehead at the front. So make sure our straight leg is in line with our hip as well, so it's not too far forwards or too far back. And from here we're going to lengthen up as we tip up and over. Imagine you're sliding between 2 panes of glass. Shoulders and hips square to the front. Engage through those tummy muscles to come back. Up and over towards the straight leg. And back to centre. So we're going to lengthen up through the spine as we come up and over. Keeping the elbows nice and wide, shoulders square to the front. That's it. Coming back. Up and over towards the straight leg. Hear things cricking and cracking. And let's go up and over. So really engage those tummy muscles, drawing back. Up and over. And bring the body to centre. And then bring that knee in. I'm going to come into a seated position. So again, if you want to sit on the cushion, you can sit on a cushion, but we're going to do our neck pull prep exercise, which we haven't done in a long time. So it's similar to the half roll back, but a little bit different. So if you want to sit on a cushion, you can sit on a cushion if it's more comfortable for the low back and the hips. But if you are, make sure you sit at the front of the cushion as we're going to be rolling backwards of the sit bones. So feet and knees in line with our hips. Let's pop hands on the front of the forehead again. Elbows slightly forwards. So we want to think of lengthening up through the spine, so we're sitting up nice and tall on our sit bones. From here, we take a breath in. As we're breathing out, we're going to tuck the tailbone under like we do with our half roll back. So we're rolling behind those sit bones, rolling and rounding through the back. So this time we're going to stay as we breathe in. As we breathe out, we're going to keep that C curve as we come up and over our sit bones, keeping that C curve in the spine, and then we're going to lengthen up through the spine, sit up nice and tall. So we're rounding through the spine, we're scooping out that tummy, round through the low back. Have a gentle squeeze on those glutes as well. So we take a wide breath into our rib cage. So we can keep our tummy engaged. Breathing out. You should imagine you've got a little beach ball in your lap. So we're going to come up and over that beach ball. So in this position, I want you to think of reaching the crown of the head forward and then pulling the tummy button back towards the spine. Then we want to use our back muscles to lengthen up into sitter. So we start with the lower back first, then the mid back, upper back. Balance the head nicely on top, shoulders down. So we're breathing out. We scoop out that tummy round through the spine. Keep the tummy scooped as you take a wide breath in. Breathing out, keeping that C curve. We come up and over those sit bones, reaching the crown of the head forwards. And then we're going to lengthen up into sitting, shoulders down, neck nice and long. And again, we're breathing out. We scoop out the tummy round through the spine. We take a small breath in, focusing to the sides of the ribs. Breathing out, up and over. Keep the spine rounded, up and over those thighs. Try and pull your tummy away from your thighs. Breathing in, lengthen up into sitting. We'll do this one more time. Breathing out, scoop out the tummy round through the spine. Have a gentle squeeze on your glutes. We're pulling tummy in and up. We breathe in to stay. Breathing out, up and over. Breathing in, we lengthen back up into sitting, nice and tall. So let's drop the arms down. We're going to grab our band. We're going to do a little bit of spine twist with the band. So again, you can keep a cushion if you want to sit on a cushion. And we're going to come into a cross-legged position. So lay your band out and we're going to sit in the middle. So depending on your strength of your band, you can make the side that we're working with a little bit longer if you want to, if it's a little bit too hard, which I'm going to do today. I'm going to make one side a little bit longer. So from here, sitting cross-legged, or you can sit with the legs out in front. So clasp the band between your thumbs and your fingers. I'm going to sit up nice and tall on our sit bones. Clasp the fingers, hands in front of tummy button. So before we start our rotation, we're going to just lift the shoulders up towards our ears. I'm going to slide the shoulders down as we lift up through the spine. So you should imagine you've got weights hanging from your elbows. Take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to rotate away from the band to one side. Breathe in, we're going to come back to center. Breathing out, rotate through the waist. And back to center. So as we rotate round, we're going to keep length through both sides of the waist. And back to centre. So have a little bit of a think of what your legs are doing as we're rotating round. So we want the legs to stay as relaxed as possible. And we're just moving through the waist and through the spine. So it'll be our oblique muscles that are creating this little movement. So really tighten through your abdominal muscles as we rotate through the spine, and try and keep those hip flexors nice and soft at the front. Keeping those weights nice and heavy on your elbows. And we'll do one more. Breathing out. And breathe in, we come back to centre, other side. So I'm going to lengthen my working side a little bit. Arms in front, band between thumbs and fingers, sitting up nice and tall, high on the sit bones, legs as relaxed as possible. So we've got those weights hanging from the elbows again, lengthen up through the spine, drawing those shoulder blades down. So we breathe out to rotate. We breathe in, we come back to centre. Breathing out. And back to centre. So as we're rotating round, we don't want the arms pulling. We're going to try and maintain the hands as much as possible, I suppose, in front of that tummy button area. Breathing out. So we're going to stay nice and open through the chest at the front. And again, keeping those legs as soft as possible through your hip flexors at the front of your hips. Keep the sit bones nicely, evenly placed on the mat. And let's do this 2 more times. Breathing out, reach out through the crown of the head up towards the ceiling as we rotate. So feel nice length through the spine. We don't want it sort of compressing down, we want it nicely lifting up. One more. And back to centre. So let's pop the band out, pop it to the side. Let's come into our seated position with our legs out in front. And we're going to have a nice long slow roll down onto our back. So reaching the arms forwards as we breathe out. We're going to tuck under it like a little half roll back. I'm going to slowly as possible roll all the way down. Keep tucking the tailbone under, putting the tummy button in and up, all the way down to the floor. Hands are down, and then bring the feet in towards your hips. So from here, let's lift the legs up into tabletop. That's it. You're going to come into our little toe taps. So you're more than welcome to keep the head down, or you can pop the hands behind the head and lift the head and shoulders up off the mat. So I'll let you choose. I'm going to toe tap down one side and lift, and then the other side. So just alternating legs. So as we're tapping down, we're going to keep that 90-degree angle at the knee joint. So we don't want to cheat and bend from the knee and just tap the toe. We want to keep that angle. We'll challenge your tummy muscles a little bit more. So if your head and shoulders up, elbows are nice and wide, eye gaze mid-thigh. Keeping the pelvis nice and still. So we don't want any rocking through the pelvis, any arching through the lower back as we tap the toe down towards the floor. So let's do 4 more. 4 and 3, 2 and 1. Back to tabletop. So we're going to continue with those little toe taps, and we're going to come into our obliques. So as we tap one toe down towards the floor, we're going to lift up and over, bring opposite shoulder to opposite knee. Breathe in, lower down, leg back to tabletop, other side. And back to tabletop. So we're going to go from side to side. So if you want to, you can then straighten that leg as we come up and over, if you want to, or you can keep it in that little toe tap movement with the legs bent. So legs bent or legs straight. Lifting up and over. Up and over. So think of opposite shoulder to opposite knee and not the elbow. You want to keep the elbows nice and wide. So let's do 4 more of these. 4, 3, and 2. Last one. Head and shoulders down, and let's just hug those knees in towards the chest. That's it. And rock from side to side if you want to. Give that lower back a little gentle massage on the floor. Brilliant. And from here, we're going to pop both feet down on the mat. And from here, we're going to bring the feet together and the knees together. And then we're going to lift just one leg up. So we're going to try and keep the knees together. And from here, hands behind the back. Arms raised overhead. So with the arms raised overhead, orientate them down as far as you can maintain a neutral pelvis and spine. So don't take them so far that the spine begins to arch up off the floor. So we'll do this in 2 counts. We breathe in. As we breathe out, we go into our ab prep, reach towards our knees. Breathing in, we release back down. Breathing out, reaching up. Breathing in, reach it back. So we're going to keep going with 2 counts, making sure that we slightly tuck in the chin as we lift the head and shoulders up. So you imagine you're holding that plumb between chin and chest. That's it, reaching to the knees. And down. Let's do 1 more. We're going to stay up there. And then we're going to lower this straight leg a little bit further down towards the floor. And then lift. Lower down. And lift. Let's do 2 more, keeping the head and shoulders up. Last one. And then lower all the way down, reach the arms overhead, and we'll swap sides. So pop that foot down. We're going to straighten the other leg, knees together, take a breath in. Breathing out, slight tuck of the chin as we lift up and reach. Breathe in, release it back. Again, being mindful that we don't arch the lower back and the spine as we reach the arms back. Breathing out, reach past those knees. Good, so try and keep that leg nice and straight, or as straight as possible as we're coming up and down. So let's do 2 more. Release back, last one. We're going to stay up there. I'm going to lower and lift that straight leg down towards the floor and lift. 2 and lift. 3. Last one. 4. Bring the knees together. Lower the head and shoulders down. Pop the foot down and bring the arms down towards the floor. So from here, separate the legs. So feet and knees hip distance apart. Pelvis nice and neutral. So we'll come into our shoulder bridge next. So arms are down by our side. We take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to pick the hips up in 1 count. We're going to push 1 foot down into the mat, keeping the hips up. We're going to float 1 leg up into tabletop. And then we're going to straighten that leg to try and get a nice stretch with the hamstrings. We're going to bend the knee. We're going to pop that foot back down. So we're going to peel the foot up off the floor into tabletop. Get a nice stretch through the back of the leg as we straighten the neck. Bend. Place that foot back down, toe ball heel. And again, other side. So peel the foot up off the floor. So you can work through the feet as well. Lengthen up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend the knee. place that foot back down. Other side last time, peel the foot up, keeping the hips as square to the ceiling as possible. Bend the knee, put that foot down, straight back down to the mat. So we'll do that again. So we're going to start with the other leg first. So as we breathe out, push both feet into the floor as we pick the hips up. Peel the foot up off the floor into tabletop. Reach that toe up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend the knee, pop that foot down, toe ball heel. Other side, peel it off, keeping the hips square to the ceiling as much as possible. So we still have a gentle engagement through our tummy muscles as we're moving our legs and working through our glutes and our hamstrings. So we want to keep the ribs closed at the front. There's no popping of the ribs as we'll lose our abdominal engagement. Let's do one more. Lengthen up. We're going to bend, pop that foot down, and then hinge from the hips as we lower straight back down to the mat. So let's turn over onto our front. And we'll work our back a little bit. So from here, let's have elbows bent, hands by our shoulders. So let's have our legs about hip distance apart, legs are turned out. So heels facing in, knees facing out. So we've got a gentle squeeze or gentle engagement through our glute muscles. So we'll start with a nice long neck, eye gazes straight down. Take a breath in. As we breathe out, think of rolling a marble away with your nose as we come up into a little extension. We take a breath in to stay. Breathing out, we're going to release it back down. Take a breath in. Breathing out, think of reaching through the crown of the head, sliding the shoulders down towards our hips. And we're nice and open through the chest at the front. Take a breath in. Breathing out. We're going to relax it back down. So we breathe in to stay and breathe out to move. Breathe in to stay. And out, lower back down. We're going to do this one more time. So we're breathing out. Lengthen through the spine as we come up into that little extension. Breathe in to stay. And out. Lower back down. So this time we're going to extend the arms in front. So the arms are nice and straight. So just wider than shoulder width apart. So we're going to be lifting one arm up at a time. So if it's more comfortable, you can leave the head down on the floor or you can lift the head up with the arms. So we've got our corset muscle wrapped around the waist, our glute muscles are squeezed. So think of drawing your sit bones towards each other and the legs are nice and straight. So we take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to lift one arm up off the floor. Breathe in, we're going to lower back down. Breathing out, other arm. Reach and lift. And lower down. So again, you can leave the head down if you want to. I find it a little bit harder personally. Or you can lift the head up. So as we're lifting the arm, we want to think of drawing the shoulders down. So the neck stays nice and long. Ooh.
Sorry.
You're all right. No, don't worry. I thought, oh, my screen looks suddenly big. That's all right. So into our swimming. So lifting one arm up at a time. So shoulder width apart. So as we lift the arm up, we want to slide the shoulders down. So we want to keep a nice long neck as we go from side to side. So you want to keep a gentle squeeze through our glute muscles. And the legs remain nice and straight. And try and keep the legs down on the floor. So let's do one more on each side. And let's do one more. And lengthen down. So we're going to bend the elbows and pop the forehead onto our hands. We're going to do the same thing with the legs. So keeping the legs nice and straight, we're going to lengthen and lift one leg up off the mat as we breathe out. We breathe in, we lower back down. We breathe out, lengthen and lift the other side. And back down. So keep the head down on your hands and eye gaze straight down towards the mat. I'm going to try and keep a nice long neck. So as we're going from side to side, we want to try and keep a nice even weight distribution through your hip bones. So you want to have a gentle engagement through our core muscles, but we'll also be activating some deep muscles in your spine, which are actually part of your core as well. So you might feel the muscles in your back working a little bit in your lower back as you lift and lower the legs. We're reaching with the toes. And try and keep the upper body as relaxed as possible as we work the lower body. So let's do one more on each side. That's it. And then we'll do opposite arm and leg. So we're going to lengthen the arms out in front again so they are shoulder width apart. Eye gaze is straight down. So as we breathe out, we're going to lift opposite arm and leg up off the mat. As we breathe in, we lower back down. We breathe out, other side, opposite arm and leg, and then lower back down. So as we lift the opposite arm and leg up, you want to keep even weight distribution through the hip bones again. I'm going to try and keep the shoulders squared down to the mat. So there's no rotation going on through the spine. Just want to work those back extensors. Sliding shoulders down. So if you do feel this in your low back at all, just make the movement smaller. And then focus more in engaging through your tummy muscles. Or you can slightly tuck the tailbone under as well. So let's do one more on each side from here. Breathing out, lengthen and lift. Into lower, and we'll do one more. And lower down. So let's pop back into a little shell stretch quickly. So bottom towards your heels, rounding through the spine. So you can either have the arms out in front or arms down by your side, whatever is more comfortable for you. So just take another breath here in this position. Nice deep breath in and out. Brilliant. So from here, we're going to come down onto the mat. I'm going to do our side leg kick. So for our side leg kick, we're going to angle the legs forwards 45 degrees. So you can either come all the way down onto the mat, or if you want to work the shoulders a little bit more and the shoulders are feeling okay, come up onto your forearm. But we're going to lift up out of that shoulder joint up if you are up on your forearm. I'm going to come all the way down today. So I'm going to lift up through both sides of the waist, shoulders relaxed. I'm going to lift that top leg up hip height. We're going to swing it forwards for 2 counts. We're going to point the foot and take it back for 1. Breathing out for 2. And point back for 1. So as we're moving the leg forwards and backwards, you want to try and maintain the same height. So imagine you're swinging your leg or moving your leg over top of a tabletop. That's it. Reaching with the heel as we come forwards and reaching with the toe as we reach back. So you might get a bit of a stretch through your hamstrings as well as your calf muscle as you draw the leg forwards, and get a nice sense of openness through the front of the hip as you reach the leg back. But just being mindful that when we do reach the leg back, we're not arching through the lower spine. We're going to try and keep that neutral pelvis and spine as much as possible. Good, so we're going to leave it back, and from here we're going to reach the top arm forwards and allow the shoulder to drop down. So it's a bit more of a freer movement now. So from here, as we swing the leg forwards, we're going to swing the arm back. So allow the body to move and rotate as you reach forwards and backwards. That's it. Reaching forwards as the leg goes back, reaching the arm back as the leg goes forwards. So just allowing the shoulders to move with the arm. And let's do one more of each. That's it. Bring the legs together, and then we're going to go round to the other side. So you can either just turn to face the other way or swing the legs around. So up on your forearm, or all the way down onto the floor, legs on a diagonal 45 degrees, feet are flexed, lifting up through the waist, core muscles gently engaged, leg hip height. I'm going to draw it forwards for 2. We're going to come forwards and take it back for 1. We flex forwards for 2 and take it back for 1. So even though we're working through our side of the hips, the glutes, as well as outer leg, we want to be working through our core muscles as well, particularly your transverse abdominis muscle, which is your corset muscle, which wraps around from the back all the way around the waist, attaches at the front. So you really want to be working that muscle throughout. Helps to provide support for the pelvis and the low back. Let's do 2 more. Reaching forward with the heel for 2. Pointing to take it back for 1. And we'll do 1 more. And then we'll do it with our little reaches. And take it back. So we're going to keep it back. Reach it forwards. Allow the shoulders to drop forwards. We're going to sweep the leg forwards as we sweep the arm back. So allow the shoulders to move. And rotate through the spine. That's it. So reaching with the legs, reaching with the arm. Nice free movement. That's it. And let's do 1 more. Bring the legs together. Let's turn onto our back for a quick glute stretch. So onto our back, ankle just above the knee, hands behind the back of the leg, and you're just going to draw the legs in towards the chest. That's it. So stretching the glute muscle, remembering to breathe, and with each out breath, just try and draw the legs a little bit closer in towards you and melt into the stretch a little bit more. And we'll swap sides. Foot down, ankle just above the knee, and draw it in towards you. Sit. And again, just remember to breathe. Breathe into the stretch. And try and relax the muscles around the hips. Lovely. Let's pop that foot down. Let's turn onto our side. And let's come onto all fours again, and we'll do thread the needle. So hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. And we're going to reach up towards the ceiling, open up through the chest, rotate through the back, and then we're going to thread the arm through. And we're going to come back up. Reach reaching up towards the ceiling. Make sure we're lifting up out of that supporting shoulder as well. And then we reach through. Bend through that supporting arm as we reach through. And then we're going to push back up. We'll do it one more time. Reaching up towards the ceiling. And thread through. Get a nice stretch, feeling of openness through the back of the shoulders. And from there, we're going to come back up. I'm going to take it to the other side. So I'm going to reach up towards the ceiling and bend through the supporting elbow. And again. Just see if you can go a little bit further with each one. And let's do this one more time. And reach it through. Brilliant. And then we're going to come back up and just keeping hips over knees. We're going to reach the arms forwards into a little puppy dog stretch. And just try and relax down as much as possible. So if this is a bit uncomfortable for the shoulders, you can just pop back into a shell stretch, which is where bottom goes back towards the heels. Otherwise, this is a really nice one to do to relax through the back of the pelvis, through the hips, as well as relaxing and getting a bit of mobility and a stretch through the shoulders and the upper, mid-upper back. And we're going to slide the bottom back. So I'm going to get you to have the toes together, knees apart, and just reach forwards. And from there, walk the hands over to one side on the diagonal. Reach forwards with the fingers and get a nice stretch down one side of the body. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths. Relaxing and releasing through the waist muscles. And again, feel the sit bones nice and wide. The pelvic floor is relaxing. Back of the sacrum is nice and relaxed and through the lower back. Walk the hands to centre. We'll take it over to the other side. And again, taking nice deep breaths in and out. Releasing through the waist. Up into the rib cage, up to the armpit area. And relaxing through the lower back and the pelvis. We're going to walk the hands back to centre. And then we're going to just use your hands to come back up and get you to come into all fours, tuck the toes under. Then we're going to push the body weight back onto our feet. And then lengthen up through the legs, hips up towards the ceiling. So knees are soft. You can have the hands resting on the legs if you want to, or hanging down. I'm just going to bend one knee and then the other. Just get a nice stretch through the hamstring muscles. So keeping the weight gently forwards on the front of the feet. And then both knees are soft. Let the arms hang down. We're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to roll up into standing. So I want you to gently engage through your tummy muscles as we're rolling up. Keeping the spine rounded, keeping it nice and open. So we'll roll back up, restack the vertebra, one on top of the other, all the way up into standing. So we're standing up nice and tall. Let's roll those shoulders up, back and down. Feeling that triangular base support on your feet. As we rise up, we breathe in, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. As we breathe out, palms facing down, lower the arms, lower the heels. And again, we're breathing in, rising up and reach. Breathing out. Lower back down. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in. reaching up towards the ceiling. As we breathe out, crown the head up towards the ceiling as we lower the arms and lower the heels. Lovely, well done. Excellent.